Hey, Baruch Levi, B here from Soul Centered. Thanks for tuning in. I'm coming to you live vis-a-vis StreamYard, pretty awesome app that allows me to video and share this to multiple platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. So wherever this finds you, I'm glad it found you, and look forward to sharing with you some insights about how I work with clients. I'm just sharing this over the next few days or weeks, every day, just a little more nuances to my work. I oftentimes get asked exactly what I do. I've had many career pivots, although always in the same space. And that's really different ways to find meaning in our lives. At the end of the day, I am a logotherapist. Logotherapy is the work of Dr. Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning and 32 other books. Most people don't realize he had 30 some other books. I forget how many. Man's Search for Meaning was by far the most popular and the easiest to read, probably why it's the most popular. But he created an entire genre of psychotherapy called logotherapy. Logos is meaning. And so at the center of our lives, we need meaning. I've been kind of teaching this for almost 25, 30 years at this point, and certainly more importantly, trying to live it, embody it, walk the talk. And so that's taken many different forms. And again, logotherapy is at the foundation of what I do. But one of the challenges I found with logotherapy, also Kabbalah, I'm a Kabbalah teacher, and other wisdom traditions, practices, is that they're not practical all the time. And they don't necessarily need to be. We need theory, we need ideology, we need the horizon to strive towards, but we also need to walk this path. We need to get to the horizon or move towards the horizon. So we need practical steps along the way. And that to me is where the Enneagram comes in, and it is second to none in my experience of walking the path. A very clear how-to. I would say logotherapy for me is the why, right? Find your why. What's your why, your purpose? And the Enneagram is the how to get there. Now, if you haven't listened to my newest podcast, it's called The Defiance Spirit. You can get it on the My Soul Centered website. You can either listen to it on the Defiance Spirit podcast, or everything is under the Soul Centered podcast. But the Defiance Spirit is built around Dr. Frankl's idea that you are a spirit. You have a body, you have a psyche, a mind, and emotional capacity, of course. But those things get sick, they break down, they change. There's a part of you that is ultimate reality, that is truth, that is always whole, always healed. We need to access it, to tap into it. And it's called the defiant power of the spirit, of your spirit. The challenge with the Enneagram, and please don't tune out before you listen to this, is that we don't need another system in our lives to put us in a box, to slap a label on us, to make us feel limited or, God forbid, small. One of the things that Dr. Frankl railed against was reducing another human being, reducing anything to less than its divinity. Martin Buber called this the thou, right? To see it in another person, their thou, and to recognize that divinity and to honor it. And so when we slap a label on somebody, we've reduced them to that race or that religion or that value when there's so much more. You're so much more. So the Enneagram must not become just another way to reduce others or ourselves. So Ennea means 9, and there are 9 fundamental personality types. I think of it more as energy types in the world. It's been my experience, and this is right on. These are broad categories, obviously. There's 9, and there's nuance, tons of nuance within it, and we'll get into it. But right now, staying big picture and how I utilize this, I administer a Enneagram assessment. I utilize a company called IEQ9. IEQ9 is by far the most thorough and detailed of all the Enneagram assessments. I trained in IEQ9 because it is based on algorithms. When you do the assessment, you really can't fake it. And you also get typed very clearly. Some of the assessments out there are garbage. Some of them are okay. This one is excellent. This is the gold standard. It's also expensive, but I believe it's worth it and you get what you pay for. So you get a 22-page detailed report of your Enneagram energy type So for me, I'm typed as an 8, as an example, which is kind of a controlling, intense, fiery type, probably the most fiery type, or certainly one of them. Now, I have a tendency to say I am an 8, but that's not true. And that's not how I use the Enneagram. That's not how I have to use the Enneagram, because I will not slap that label on myself. I am an 8 when I'm unconscious, or to say it better, I react as an 8. You might be a 2. So you react as a 2 or a 1, whatever it might be. The point of being here in this world is not to react, but Dr. Frankl says to shift from reaction to responding, responsibility, the ability to respond when circumstances outside of you, which are always outside of you, pound you. How do you react? Well, I react as an 8. I don't have to stay there. I shouldn't stay there. And so what I do in my own life and with others is take this Enneagram and defy it. See how I react and study it, understand it, go into the layers of it, see where my 8 connects to a 2 or a 5. Those are the two primary lines within the Enneagram. Actually, I have a picture of it. I'll just show you real quick, just so you've seen it before. I put the butterfly in there, but it's always hard to do that on camera. So I'm an 8, and I have these two lines that go from 8 to 2 and 8 to 5. And that's my kind of primal energies. And I have to learn when I'm going to a 2, which is the helper, when I'm going to a 5, which is the quiet specialist, how to get there. And so studying this energy system, studying myself, studying this roadmap, and really learning how to come off of autopilot in my life. And so that's what we do. We walk through your Enneagram assessment. It's pretty corporate. It was built for the corporate world. And so I also supplement it with a running commentary of the psychological, emotional, and spiritual language of your assessment. So you really have this thorough, scientific, kind of secular, solid, it's a lot of S's, Enneagram assessment in hand. Bring it over to me, and then our work together could be one session. It could be years. I've worked with some clients for 2, 3, 4 years at this point, and walking through it. And it doesn't have to be a formal process each and every time. It can be in the background. And we have language now to really help you understand yourself and other people. Because when you know your type and how you react, you can elevate or become more conscious and respond. And when you know other people's types, you can start responding to them, to know their triggers, to know how they react. So an example of that is I have a daughter who's an Enneagram 9. For any of you who know the 9, it's called the peacemaker. They're the more quiet type, not always, but oftentimes. They're conflict avoidant and peace seeking, which sounds great until it gets out of balance and it's just conflict avoidant. And so I know that she doesn't deal head on with conflict. I can't go at her aggressively where she becomes like a turtle. She goes into her shell and I can't get her back out. By the way, the 9s are probably one of, if not the most stubborn. So although their head is saying yes, their heart has said no. They're digging in their heels, and you're not getting them out of the shell if they choose not to. So I have to I have to approach her indirectly and gently and softly. Now I have another daughter who's an 8, like me. I don't have to do that dance around her. In fact, for an 8, we respect a direct line of communication, right? The fastest point between two places is a direct line. So with an 8, I wouldn't want to go roundabout because there's a distrust in not being direct. And so one of my daughters I have to approach as an 8, one I have to approach as a 9. I'm helping my 9 take on more 8 qualities. I'm helping my 8 take on more 9 qualities. Take a deep breath, settle down, right? But this is the work of the Enneagram, and this is the amazing resource and tool that's at your fingertips. It's not new. It's ancient. It's withstood the test of time. It's been around for a long time and guided a lot of people for a reason. So I encourage you to Google it, check it out, shoot me an email, I'd love to connect you to the Enneagram and help you in any way I can. We can work together formally, or I can just informally direct you forward. But I really believe deeply in the Enneagram, and once you engage it, so will you. So I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me an email at Baruch, BARUCH, at mysoulcenter.org. And until the next time, shalom, salam, namaste, and peace.